name is Danielle, and I have a lifelong passion for cooking. I'm a wife, a mother of 4, and a strong advocate for a vegan, plant-based, organic lifestyle. Over the last 10 years, I've been honing in my vegan, plant-based skills, and I'm here to bring them to you in my Plant Beach Family Kitchen. Hi, I'm Danielle, and welcome back to my Plant Beach Family Kitchen. I am so excited for today's recipe. I'm making must-make mashed potatoes. And my family completely loves this meal, and I know you will too. I have lots and lots of tips for you today, so be sure to get out a notepad. First, what really makes a good mashed potato is if you pair 2 of them together. This is a russet potato, and this is a Yukon potato. And the reason why I love to pair these is because they just lend the perfect balance of a fluffy and buttery mashed potato. Now, if you want to keep the skins of the Yukon Gold on, that's perfectly fine. They actually don't hinder the dish in any way. You're not like chewing on anything. You can leave them on if you want to. I do recommend taking the skin off of the russet potato just because it doesn't melt in the dish as well as the Yukon skins do. So what I'm doing here is I'm just cutting up the potatoes so they are all even consistency. Part of the success of mashed potatoes is that you have an even dice on your potatoes. You don't want some of them cooking faster than the others. So that's the most important. And now what I do is I'll either put them in the pot to cook off right away, but a tip that I want to share with you is if you're going to be cooking these mashed potatoes, let's say the next day, but you want to prep them, you have a bunch of family coming over for Thanksgiving or for any meal really, and you want to prep them the night before, all you have to do is place them in a bowl of water. Stick them in the fridge and then drain them off when you're ready to use them and put them in your pot and they're ready to go. So you can have a big bowl of these diced potatoes in your fridge until you're ready to use them. Now, if you were gonna cook them in the oven or something like that, you would wanna pat them dry completely. But for mashed potatoes, no problem. Just drain them and then put them in your pot. And that's what I'm gonna do here. I'm going to add them to this pot of water, which brings me to my next point. You want to start with cool water. You do not want to add the potatoes into boiling water, and the reason why is because you want them all to come up to a temperature together. So when you put them in the cool water and they start to cook, they cook from the inside out. If you were to pour them right away into boiling water, they would sear on the outside and you would have uneven cooking temperatures. So a little salt to this water, you put it on the stove, let it come up to a boil. And then the next thing you want to do is once they're ready to go, I have some potatoes that are cooked here, how you check them is that you stick a knife in them. And if they fall off easily like that, they're ready to go. So I'm going to drain these potatoes off into the sink, into a colander. And the next step is really another important step in cooking mashed potatoes. You want to put them back into the pan after you've drained the water off. You want to put them on the stove and turn it on. And the reason why you want to do this is because you want all the water to evaporate out of the potatoes because we're gonna make a delicious liquid that we're gonna pour back in, and you want all the mashed potatoes to absorb the yummy goodness that you're trying to embark all the flavor. So you just have the heat on, you just let it run for a few minutes to kind of evaporate, again, the moisture out of the potatoes that we've just boiled. So over here, I'm gonna put together this mixture for the potatoes is amazing. So it tastes really buttery and yummy and all the flavors that you are wanting for a mashed potato. You can make your own almond milk and pour it in here, which I do often, but this is also a brand that I use for cooking. Because it's gonna be heated up and things like that, I kind of save the fresh made almond milk for dishes that aren't cooked. But I like this brand. There's only a couple ingredients in here and it really passes my test of what I think is healthful enough in the kitchen for our family to eat. So I'm just gonna pour the entire, it's about 3.5 cups of milk in here. You can certainly do a little bit more if you're having more mashed potatoes, but it's kind of, no potato is created equal. So sometimes you might need a little more liquid or a little less, but we're gonna just start with that today. All right, olive oil. Lots of olive oil, but shh, don't tell anybody. After all, this is Thanksgiving, right? So go ahead and just pour a good amount of olive oil in here, maybe like 3/4 of a cup. And what gives this mixture a buttery flavor and bumps up the health unit is I like to put maca powder in here. So we're gonna go ahead and put that in. You're gonna whisk all this, add a little bit of salt in here, little pepper, and then you want to heat it up. And the reason why you want to have the milk mixture heated is because you don't want to have anything cold going into your potatoes. It doesn't make a cohesive mixture. It's like you're pouring cold into the hot and it seizes up. So to get a really smooth, fluffy mashed potato, you want to have the mixture that you're pouring into the warm potatoes also warm. Let me get my potato masher. And if you're somebody who likes smooth potatoes, you can use an immersion blender or you can use beaters. Anything like that is also awesome. I just like to get a little bit of work in there. So, all right. Once the mixture is heated in the back, and to remind you, we have the milk, the olive oil, and the maca powder and salt in here. You're just gonna pour it in. And you can hear all the sounds of the mashed potatoes absorbing this liquid here. And then just give it a nice mash. And then you're gonna keep adding liquid in here and mashing. You don't want to pour it all in at once. You're going to do it little by little because remember, you can always add, but you can't take out. So a little at a time. And if you get to the point where you're like, oh my gosh, I used all the liquid, but I need more because it looks like the mashed potatoes are still dry, and just add a little bit more milk, olive oil, and maca powder, and then season it up. No problem. The thing about the mashed potatoes is be confident with it. You've got the method. Once you get the method of doing it, you don't really have to follow an exact recipe. You just kind of feel what it is, look at it, what texture do you want, and then really you're kind of just letting your freak flag fly, right? You're just making it taste good. Now, I like to add different things to my mashed potatoes. If you like a garlicky undertone, you can certainly take a whole garlic clove, roast it in the oven, add roasted garlic in here. You could take some of that Miyoko smoked cheese, the vegan cheese, and cube it and put it in here and have that going through. You can put kale in here is what we're gonna do later. So you can see, here's the consistency. Now this is where I said, now here's where you can either leave it like this, like a chunky mashed potato, or you can smooth it out by using a blender or something like that. But this, I like this type of texture. It makes me, it's still smooth, it's still creamy, but it has some bite to it. So it's a complete personal choice. And the secret to the perfect mashed potatoes. Now, if you don't have this at home, don't let it stop you from making this. It's still delicious just like this. But if you happen to make some of the sour cream that we talked about in earlier episodes, you can look those up, how to make sour cream. You could add 2 heaping tablespoons of that sour cream into this mashed potato mixture, and it just lends a tangy flavor like no other. So just mix that in, mix. And again, you could make this earlier in the morning of your Thanksgiving day or whatever holiday that you're making mashed potatoes for, you could leave it out and then heat it up a little bit with some of the extra liquid that you have if it got too thick and you wanted to stir that in. And there you go. A meal completely made, delicious, and it really is one of the best mashed potatoes you'll ever have. So I'm going to show you how to plate it. I like to add the kale in here. It just bumps up nutrition, and the mashed potatoes are so good that why not add a little bit of something that's healthful in there. Again, if this is not your thing, you can totally leave it out, but my kids devour this. So, okay, I like to take a bunch of scoops, just pile it up, and what's nice about an ice cream scoop is it makes it look pretty, right? And why not? We all eat with our eyes. A little bit of gravy, and I have this recipe for you as well on an episode. You can just look up how to make rosemary gravy. You want to pour this on your dish and add a little bit of pepper. Fresh black pepper on top is always a nice little touch and delicious. And did you know that if you eat fresh black pepper, a lot of it can actually help with any mucus issues that you're having. So there's a nice little tip for you. It helps chase away the mucus, and it's delicious. Okay, the best part. I'm gonna have a moment, so just bear with me. Wow, this recipe is a must make if you just want it for yourself, if you want to impress your friends and family, if you're just having one of those days where you need a hug. Vegan mashed potatoes. Yummy! One thing I wanted to mention, if you like what you're seeing, please subscribe and also make sure to like us. Also, if there's any recipes that you want to see, please be sure to let me know and I'll veganize them. Everybody have a great day. Say bye, kids.
Bye.